Right now, as you listen to me, there is an invisible mechanism draining your bank account. It's not the government, it's not your bank fees, and it's not bad luck. It is a single decision. A decision you make an average of 14 times a day without even realizing it, and it's the exact reason you feel like you're running on a treadmill, working harder and harder just to stay in the exact same place. The next few minutes are going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to expose the lie that's been sold to your family for 3 generations, and I'm going to show you what the 1% do differently. If you think this is just another video about saving on coffee or making a budget spreadsheet, you can close it right now. What I'm about to reveal to you is the code that separates those who are slaves to money from those who are masters of their time. And if you stay until the end, I'm going to give you the key to the inversion rule, the only technique that allows ordinary people to move from debt to profit in less than 12 months. But be careful. Once you understand this, you will never be able to look at your salary the same way again. Why do you wake up early? Why do you put up with a boss you can't stand or traffic that steals 2 hours of your life every single day? The short answer is survival. The real answer is you've been programmed to be a consumer of liabilities. Imagine 2 paths. On path A, you receive $5,000. You pay the rent, the car payment, the credit card bill for new clothes, and Friday night dinner. At the end of the month, 0 is left. You need the next month to survive. You are a hostage. On path B, the same $5,000 comes in, but the first decision is different. This decision creates a soldier. This soldier works for you while you sleep. Most people believe the difference between the rich and the poor is how much they earn. Wrong. The difference is what happens to the money in the first 10 minutes after it hits the account. Do you ever feel that anxiety when your paycheck drops? That immediate urge to treat yourself because you worked hard? That is the poverty trigger. It's a defense mechanism in your brain to compensate for the suffering of work. And that is exactly where the trap closes. The system needs you to spend. If you stop spending what you don't have to buy, what you don't need to impress people you don't like, the economy stalls. What separates the rich is the concept of delayed gratification. The poor anticipate pleasure and postpone the price. The rich anticipate the price and postpone pleasure. Think about your phone. Is it a tool or a status symbol? If you financed your phone in 12 installments, you didn't buy a phone. You sold 12 months of your future freedom to a tech company. You traded days of your life for a glass screen. But wait. The problem isn't consumption. The problem is the source of the payment. I'm going to tell you something that will blow your mind about how millionaires buy luxury. They never use their own sweat to buy a Porsche. They use the sweat of their assets. But how do you get there if today you can barely pay off your credit card? Pay attention, because now we are entering the anatomy of the decision that changes everything. There is a concept called opportunity cost. Every $100 you spend on something that depreciates isn't just $100. It is, in fact, thousands of dollars you stopped earning over the next 10 years. When you decide to buy that outfit on impulse, you are saying to your future self, "I'd rather you keep working at this job you hate for longer, just so I can wear this brand today." It's cruel, isn't it? But it's the truth. The rich don't focus on saving. They focus on buying time. Let me explain how. Imagine every dollar of yours is an employee. If you spend, you fire the employee. If you invest, you hire. The secret no one tells you is that there is an inflection point. It is the moment when your paper employees start earning more than you do at your main job. "Oh, but I earn too little, I can't invest." That is the biggest lie you tell yourself to ease the guilt. If I punched you in the stomach and said you'd die if you didn't save $50 this month, you'd save it. So it's not a lack of money. It's a lack of priority. It's the absence of the single decision. We've reached the crucial point. What, after all, is this decision that separates the two worlds? Most people follow the formula. Earnings, expenses equals what's left, investment. The problem is that there's never anything left. Something unexpected always comes up. A tire blows, the fridge breaks, a birthday appears. The financial decision of the rich is a total inversion of this logic. Earnings, investment equals what's left, expenses. Sounds simple? It's the difference between financial heaven and hell. The rich pay themselves first. They treat their investment as the most urgent and non-negotiable bill of the month. More important than rent. More important than electricity. By doing this, you force your mind to be creative. If you paid yourself and now you're short on leisure money, your brain will look for ways to earn more, instead of settling for what it already has. You stop managing scarcity and start managing abundance. But there's a detail. A financial black hole that pulls in 99% of people and throws them back into poverty, even when they start earning well. Do you know what happens when someone gets a raise? They increase their lifestyle. They change cars, they change houses, they change restaurants. They still have zero in their account, only now it's a more expensive zero. They remain slaves, just in a nicer cell. You have two choices now as this video comes to an end. The first is to close this tab, say, "That was cool," and go back to your routine. In 5 years, you'll be exactly where you are today, maybe a bit more tired and deeper in debt. The second is to make the decision to invert your financial logic today. Not tomorrow. Today. If you want to know exactly where to put those first soldiers of yours so they start multiplying on their own, without you needing to be a stock market genius, I've prepared something special. I recorded a practical guide where I show the 3 assets every beginner must have to build what I call the freedom cushion. But I'm only releasing this to those who truly want to get out of the rat race. Are you ready to stop working for money and start making it work for you? Click the first link in the description and I'll show you the technical map of this journey. Don't leave your freedom for later. Time is the only resource you cannot recover. Have you ever wondered why, even though you earn more today than you did 5 years ago, your feeling of financial suffocation is the same? The system was designed for you to be a functional illiterate regarding money. They taught you to read, write, and operate machines, but they never taught you how to read a balance sheet. Do you know why? Because if you know the difference between an asset and a liability, you stop enriching the bank and start enriching yourself. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. Your car, your financed house, your streaming subscription you barely use. An asset is anything that puts money into your pocket. Stocks, rental properties, automated businesses, intellectual property. The poor buy liabilities believing they are assets. They say, "My house is my greatest asset." Wrong. Your house is the bank's greatest asset, because you pay them interest for 30 years. If you stop working today, does your house keep giving you profit or does it generate taxes, maintenance, and installments? If it generates expenses, it's a liability. Period. The psychology behind poverty is based on avoiding pain. Your job is stressful. Your boss is a tyrant. Public transport is a mess. When Friday comes, your brain begs for a reward. "I deserve this $200 meal," you say. What you don't realize is that this $200 reward actually cost 8 hours of your life. You traded an entire Monday of humiliation for a 20-minute meal. It is a mathematically stupid trade. Rich people don't buy rewards with their lifetime. They buy rewards with the surplus of their production. Imagine a tree. The poor eat the seeds. The rich plant the seeds, wait for the tree to grow, and only eat the fruit that falls to the ground. They never touch the trunk. The trunk is the capital. The fruit is the yield. If you are eating your seeds every month, you will never have a forest. You will live in the desert of scarcity forever. Here is the moment where most of you watching this video fail. You get a promotion. Your salary goes from $3,000 to $5,000. What do? You move from a $1,000 rent to an $1,800 one. You trade the budget car for a newer one with a higher payment. You start going to more expensive places. In 3 months, you are just as broke as you were when you earned $3,000. Only now, your cost of survival is higher. If you lose your job now, the fall is fatal. This is called lifestyle creep. The financial decision that separates the rich is keeping the cost of living low while income rises. If you earn 3 and start earning 5, keep living on 3. The 2,000 difference is your passport to freedom. In 2 years, this surplus will have created a barrier of protection that no boss or economic crisis can knock down. I know what you're thinking, but what if I invest and lose everything? It's funny how people are afraid of losing $1,000 in a stock, but they aren't afraid of losing $50,000 in the depreciation of a brand new car. They aren't afraid of losing 40 years of life in an office cubicle waiting for a pension that will barely pay for their medicine. The risk isn't in investing. The risk is in depending on a single source of income. The risk is in not having control over your destiny. From now on, I want you to change the question. Instead of asking, how much does this cost? Ask, how many hours of my freedom will this cost me? If those $600 boots cost 3 days of work, do they still look beautiful to you? Or do they look like a chain binding your foot to the factory floor? We talked about mindset. We talked about inversion. We talked about assets. But there is an income acceleration technique that millionaires use to turn $100 into $1,000 in a legitimate and scalable way. It's what I call knowledge leverage. While you spend your free time watching cheap entertainment, the 1% are using their free time to learn a skill that the market pays dearly for. Money doesn't go to those who work the hardest. It goes to those who solve the most complex problems. Do you want to continue being a replaceable part of the machine, or do you want to be the engineer who designs the system? The ultimate financial decision is this: invest in yourself before investing in anything else. I've prepared an exclusive class, No Fluff, showing how to identify the 5 high-income skills that are exploding this year. Skills you can learn at home that pay more than any traditional college degree. The clock is ticking. Every second you spend without a plan is a second you work for someone else's dream. At this very second, your brain is trying to protect you. It's whispering, "This is too hard, I'll start next month," or "I don't have enough money for this." You know what that is? It's the sound of mediocrity settling in. The fear isn't of investment. The fear is of change. The system trained you to be terrified of the unknown and to accept the comfort of a predictable slavery. But let me tell you a brutal truth. There is no safety in comfort. Inflation will devour your purchasing power. Your job can be replaced by an AI or by someone willing to earn less. The only real security in the modern economy is your ability to generate wealth independent of a badge. The decision that separates the rich isn't just about numbers. It's about identity. As long as you see yourself as someone who needs a salary, you will never have what a salary cannot buy: your freedom to say no. Think about today 10 years from now. If you don't change course now, where will you be? Probably with the same worries, the same debts, and a corrosive regret of not having started today. The cost of omission is the value you lose for every day you spend being a spectator of your own life. If you invested just $300 a month with a conservative rate of return, in 20 years you would have an empire. If you spend those same $300 on nonsense, in 20 years you will have nothing but accumulated junk and frustration. The difference between the top and the bottom is that those at the top decided that the discomfort of learning to invest was smaller than the despair of being poor forever. Finally, I want to give you the ultimate concept: the breaking point. There comes a moment in every investor's life when compound interest exceeds their physical effort. It is the day when the money your money makes is greater than the money your body produces. On that day, work becomes optional. On that day, you stop selling your hours and start living your purposes. Many watch videos like this and find them interesting. But interesting doesn't pay bills. What pays bills is relentless execution. You have the knife and the cheese in your hand. I gave you the map, showed you the traps, and handed you the logic that banks hide from you. The loop is open. The question now isn't if this works, because the math doesn't lie. The question is, are you the type of person who watches history being written or the type who writes their own history? Don't close this video and go watch a meme or gossip. If you do that, your brain will delete everything we learned here to save energy. Break the pattern now. 1. List your 3 biggest liabilities, expenses that give you no return. 2. Choose one to eliminate or drastically reduce this week. 3. Take that difference and make your first contribution, even if it's the minimum allowed. The universe doesn't reward those who plan. The universe rewards those who move. If you want the practical shortcut, the technical step-by-step to move from theory to real profit, the invitation still stands. The link is in the description. It is the portal to your new financial reality. The decision that separates the rich from the poor ends here, in this click, or in the lack of it. I'll see you at the top. The rest is history.